This video is brought to you by Atomic Wheels, your go-to source for premium fully forged rims for your electric vehicle. Enhance the style and range of your Tesla or Rivian today. Go to atomicwheels.com and use code TFLEV for 10% off your order.
Hey guys, welcome to just outside of Madrid, Spain, where Polestar flew me out to get hands-on with this, the new Polestar 3. And let's just do a quick refresh of the Polestar brand. Polestar basically means North Star, and it's a partnership that came out of the fact that Geely bought Volvo and decided that they needed a more athletic, all-electric brand, and thus Polestar was born. Polestar 1 was this kind of hybrid, very expensive show car. Polestar 2, which is on sale now, kind of a tall sedan. But with Polestar 3, we finally get the car that America maybe has been waiting for, and that is, of course, the SUV. And of course, this being Swedish, and this being kind of the athletic version of Volvo, it's all-wheel drive. It's got over 500 horsepower. And it has an active rear differential. And it has styling that I think is very sexy in some ways. There's these light blades that kind of define the brand now, with the headlights being hidden underneath. And then, of course, probably the most interesting part of this car is this new front wing, where the air is funneled underneath, kind of like the new electric Charger, and then flows over the top of the car. And you'll note that the car is actually not that tall, and then comes back here and then hits another rear spoiler and then down over the rear window. And then they thought so much about aerodynamics that they actually added these little cutouts to clean up the airflow across the car, giving it a coefficient of drag of just under 0.30, which is really good. What isn't good if you're looking for efficiency are these giant 22-inch wheels that are staggered tire size. But I do love these Brembo brake calipers that are painted gold in Polestar fashion. These are some really big tires, giving this car about 315 miles of all-electric range, according to the published statistics, with a 111 kilowatt-hour battery and a 250 kilowatt charge rate. That's good for actually 10% to 80% time of charging in about 30 minutes. Now, one of the things, of course, that most electric cars have because of Tesla is a frunk, and the Polestar 3 is no exception. So let me show you that. Because of the little wing here, the little switch is actually on the driver's side. And then if you look under here, you'll find a little cubby, which isn't huge, but big enough for like maybe, you know, your gym bag, so that your stinky gym clothes don't necessarily have to go in the cabin. I do find it kind of fun and interesting that there's this little wing in the front with the frunk. Let's head on into the car and I'll show you the inside. And here, of course, is where a lot of the Volvo-ness comes in, or as Polestar would say, Swedish minimalism. So what you have is a very clean and a very modern cabin with materials made from either sustainable or recycled materials. You actually do have real wood here. And then, unlike a Tesla, you have one screen here which does control most everything, unfortunately, except for the vents. Wahoo! Look, they give it real vents, unlike the Polestar 4, which has vent control similar to a Tesla. If you want to see a review of that, just head on over to All TFL. A big, fat, juicy steering wheel. And what I really like is a nice little display there that gives you not only your range in kilometers, of course, in miles in America, but your battery health or size as well. And then, of course, a heads-up display and this big panoramic sunroof, which does let the light in, and seats that are surprisingly comfortable and surprising amount of headroom for a car that isn't all that tall. What I also like is the fact that there is, look at this, a real volume knob. So that makes actually turning up and down the stereo very simply. What I don't really love are the rest of the HVAC controls, including ADAS controls, including pretty much everything that lets you adjust the car to your personal liking. Personal profiles are all in there. So if you're one that loves buttons and switches and toggles, well, it's all on the screen. Speaking of unique controls, this vehicle does have air suspension, which allows it to raise up to 9.8 inches, which is actually quite a bit. And it does have an off-road mode. So if you're in Colorado, you actually may be able to take this on a dirt road. Now, this shares a chassis with, I think, the Volvo XC90, and if I'm wrong, correct me on that, but the Volvo is a 3-row, so this is a 2-row. So basically what you get is 3-row space in a 2-row configuration for 5 people, which I think is, good. Because look at me, I'm 6'2", and I have plenty of headroom, plenty of knee room. Just, a control here for actually heated seats, and my temperature, once again, real little toggles, 2 USB-C ports right there, and room for my feet underneath the front seat. It's all good. We have a very expensive stereo here that has actually speakers inside the headrests. I think they said something like 24 speakers in all in this Bowers & Wilkins branded stereo. Now, besides air suspension, you also get, and this is something that Polestar is very proud of, an active rear torque vectoring differential. In other words, the car will send power to the outside wheel when you're going around a curve, making it much more lively, much more sport car-like in the twisties. And that's very different from torque steer by braking, where the car brakes the inside wheel. A lot of cars have that. Much fewer cars actually have real torque vectoring, where the power goes to the outside based on a mechanical system that's in the differential. Now in the back here, let me pop it open. There we go. You have quite a bit of room. It looks like 80-20 split. And then I always love this. Let me show you over here. You have this little easy entry switch, which lowers the air suspension so that if you've got something heavy or something big, or maybe a dog, they're much easier to get in and over the back end of the car. And underneath here is actually a very nice and very big space to store maybe very dirty doggy stuff. But all in all, and I think if I close this, car will raise itself, and you can see just how quick that air suspension works. And it's also a dual chamber air suspension, which allows for a little bit more compliant ride if you've got it raised. And of course, the car will lower itself when you're on the highway for better efficiency. If you're wondering how much this car costs, we're looking at about $70,000 starting and going up from there. It competes with cars like the BMW iX in the premium space. Now, there is a cheaper all-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive version coming in a few months that they haven't talked about, but this version of it will hit the American dealer, they don't really have dealerships, will hit the American shores in the next few weeks. They should be hitting the ports right about now. Now, let me know in the comments below if you like the look of this car, if you think that you want to own a sexy SUV with a lot of Swedish flair that, will go 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds, which is, pretty darn quick, but then all electric cars are pretty darn quick. And if you want to learn more about the Polestar 4, which is the cheaper and a little smaller version that's still coming, head on over to All TFL because I did a walk around of that yesterday, which we've already published. As always, this is Roman. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Ciao.